Hello and welcome to the Redmen TV. It is Liverpool versus Manchester City. It's Klopp versus Guardiola. It's the Premier League, FA Cup and Carabao Cup winners versus the European champions. And we are here to predict the starting 11 for Liverpool Football Club. We are sponsored by OneFootball for today's show. It's an absolutely fantastic football app. You can get all the latest stats, all the latest football news, and everything, transfer rumours, all in one place. To download that, click the link in the description. It's absolutely brilliant. You need to get on it. They do notifications, they do all kinds of stuff. But as I say, the biggest game of the season is here for Liverpool Football Club. Oh my days, I have been looking forward to this fixture for so long, and now I am so nervous for the fact that we actually have to play Manchester City in a game of football. Liverpool 6 points clear, trying to extend that to 9 points. Manchester City trying to make that 3 points. Will it end up with a draw and it end up just being 6 points after the game? Who knows? We'll get into some of the comments later for how you think. I'm going to try and predict the starting 11. I'm going to try and predict the substitutes for this game because it is a big game. So in goal, it's that man there. Best goalkeeper in world football, it is Alisson Becker. At left back, Andy Robertson comes back in for this game. He had a few minutes out against Genk, but that was it. You know, most of the game off for him. Virgil van Dijk. Is Joe Gomez, Dejan Lovren? I wish Matip was fit, but I think it's going to be Dejan Lovren for this one. And then Trent Alexander-Arnold rounds off the back five for Liverpool Football Club. And yeah, I think the big question mark about the back four really is whether it's going to be Dejan or Joe. And I think because Joe Gomez did start midweek, I do think that Dejan is going to go in there. Then there are question marks over the midfield. Do you play Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain? Do you play Naby Keita? Or will Jurgen Klopp go with his trusted Fabinho, Wijnaldum, Jordan Henderson? He's shown in big games that he is a conservative manager, and I think that he is going to go with the three of Fabinho, with Wijnaldum and with Jordan Henderson for this game. And we'll talk about Oxlade-Chamberlain, I'm sure, a little bit later, because I'm sure you'll want to talk about him in the comment section. Sadio Mane, the diver, is going to be going in at left wing. Mo Salah, again, question marks over his phone, question marks over that ankle injury, but he played 90 minutes, didn't he? And then Roberto Firmino rounds off the 11 players. I'll just drop these on the floor because it's live, because that's what you do when it's live. So, substitutes then. Where should I put them really, actually? You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to move these down a little bit here, and I'm going to throw the substitutes in as best I can over here. So, I've got Big Divock Origi, I've got Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain, I've got Adam Lallana, I've got Naby Keita, I've got Joe Gomez, I've got Jimmy Milner, and I've got Adrian as my substitutes there. So we've got a forward in Divock Origi. We've got midfield options with Lallana, who can go and play that 6 if you want. Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain. We've got Naby Keita. We've got Joe Gomez, who can cover right back and maybe centre half. And James Milner, who can cover left back or defensive mid. And obviously Adrian in there. Hopefully we don't have to use our backup keeper like Manchester City had to the other day. And then the next backup keeper, which was Kyle Walker. So I'm assuming, Tom, that people want to talk about Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain.
Yes, well, there's quite a few comments all over the pitch, but we'll start off with Ox.
Okay.
Adrian Tucker says, City hate playing Ox. He's scored some great goals against them. Also nice to remind them how we beat them in the Champions League, something they haven't even reached the final for, despite spending loads.
Brilliant, mate. Absolutely brilliant. Love that one. Nice comment. So, Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain. I said this on the build-up show, and I truly believe it. This is what I would do in this game. I would change it up, personally, from a 4-3-3, and I would play it as a 4-2-3-1. And there's a couple of reasons for this, I suppose, more than any other. First of all, I remember the work that our DMs did against Manchester City with when Leroy Sané was playing that area in the Champions League, and how important it is for someone to come over and maybe help Trent Alexander-Arnold. I think that will equally be the case when Robertson pushes up. I personally like to see a Gini Wijnaldum drop into that space, maybe a Fabinho drop into that space there while we're pushed up. Obviously this doesn't happen at the same time, but that's you get the picture there. I think if I move the players back, one of the things that I think would be massively important and what would work in this formation is Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain played the 9. He played it fantastically well against Genk. Obviously, he gets a goal from the left-hand side during the second half, but he picked up the ball all over the pitch. And I just think if you played a 10, then whoever's playing that DM role, be it Gundogan, be it Fernandinho, be it Rodri if he's fit and available, you're just giving them something to think about. With Ox could really say, you know what, I'm just going to stick with the DM, whatever happens. I'm going to make it difficult for him to control the tempo of the game, first and foremost. And I'm going to make him make a decision, because when Bobby Firmino drops back in between the lines, and you know that somebody's on the DM, right, who goes with him? You're then pulling a centre-half out, because you can't leave Bobby Firmino on their own. So centre-half comes out, bang, Salah jumps into that space. That's what I'd like to see Liverpool do in this game, personally. I don't think Klopp will. I think he'd be a bit insane to do something that I am suggesting. But I do like that. I think the most realistic, if Ox comes in, is probably something like that. And you might see something a little bit different. Where do we jump from? How do we press? How are we going to try and win the ball back from Manchester City in this game? Well, for me, something they won't be expecting is Fabinho to jump out, him to be the one doing the pressing from deep. He'll be the guy to go on to that defensive midfielder and try and stop them playing with the football if we play in this 4-3-3. I wouldn't be surprised if that's the case. Occasionally you might get Wijnaldum doing it, and then you might see the midfield move around like we've seen a little bit of in recent games. It's going to be very interesting. Are the fullbacks going to be able to play high up the pitch? Or are Manchester City just going to throw a lad here and go on, mate, you go up there, but we're going to sit on that wing and you're going to have a struggle? Will we see those fullbacks play so high? I don't think we will, if I'm honest. Next one, mate.
Well, I asked actually if Ox does come in, who does he come in for, Henderson or Gini in your lineup? A few people saying Gini, but overwhelmingly Henderson, AG13. Oh no, actually, I'll give you the opposite. AG13 says he comes in for Wijnaldum, as I think Wijnaldum offers more from the bench than Henderson. That's one side of the argument.
Yeah, it's interesting. I naturally just assume that Ox plays in this role, but he can play in that role. There's no reason. I just think, I'll be honest, I think Wijnaldum's in better form than Henderson. Henderson's a player that everybody knows that I like. I think Wijnaldum's just in better form, and I think in these types of games, he very, very rarely loses the ball. You know, and you don't talk about Wijnaldum a lot because he does everything right. You never remember him doing bad things, whereas Henderson does misplace the ball every now and again. So I think the more natural thing would be, personally, to do it like that. But I can understand it. I'm not disagreeing with it in any way. As I say, I do think that's the start 11. Obviously, you've got options with Divock Origi on the bench as well. Is there any more comments about anyone?
Yeah, so I'll move to the defence. I'll read out a couple. Stephen Saw says, I'd like to see Gomez play for his pace and he needs to get going again. City could be the perfect game for them. After that one, Paddy Walker says, have you got much faith in either Lovren or Gomez at the moment? And then Adi O'Riordan says, I think it'll be Lovren, but I hope it's Gomez. Lovren is too rash for games like this, in my opinion.
Difficult. Really, really difficult decision, the Gomez, the Lovren thing, because I think right now everybody would probably agree that if Matip was fit, he starts this game of football. I don't think Joe's been in anywhere near the level of form that he showed last season. I think Lovren's been absolutely fine when he's come in, to be honest with you. I think Joe playing a game in midweek, you can look at it two ways, can't you? Did he play to get some minutes for this game because he's not played enough at centre-half, he's not played enough with Van Dijk, or did he rest Lovren so that he's fit and firing and fresh for this game? It's a really difficult one. The pace of Joe Gomez is important, I do feel. Especially if you've got like Sterling running in and cutting inside or something like that, then having someone like a Joe Gomez would obviously be a good option. I just think they'll go with Lovren because he's been going with Lovren. But really, really, really difficult to sort of pick a winner in that battle, I suppose. And I'm kind of just hedging my bets on Dejan on that one. And look, I don't think he's a massive liability, and I might eat my words on that. I think he's a good defender. I do. Is it the type of battle for a Dejan Lovren? Maybe not. Maybe it does suit Joe Gomez a little bit more. And if we dominate possession, which is a big if, then I'd rather see Gomez in there. But if Man City have the ball and we're backs to the wall, I'd rather see Lovren in there. Very, very tough to decide, if I'm honest.
Moving to the front three, Ronan Flanagan says, I'm worried about Salah's form, to be honest, but is it too much of a risk to drop him?
Yes, it is too much of a risk to drop him. I don't think he's been in bad form, to be honest with you. I think, you've seen from his 16 games this season, he's got 8 goals and 5 assists so far, 13 goal contributions, 16 games. Is he in Salah form that we've seen? No. Is he in bad form? I don't think that's fair to say. I think he's just average form at the moment, for want of a better word. And the thing that he does, and that he always does, is he worries and he scares teams. Now, I don't know whether Zinchenko's going to start, I don't know whether it's going to be Mendy, I don't know whether maybe Cancelo moves over to left-back or whatever for Manchester City. But whatever it is, whoever it is, they'll be shit scared of coming up against Mo Salah. And they will always put 1, 2, sometimes 3 players on closing him down, and that creates space for these 2 players. And I keep saying it, and I've said it for a couple of weeks now, the front 3 is the front 3. It's not the front 3 when one of them isn't there, and it doesn't play like the front 3 when one of them isn't there. It sounds simple, but without Salah, he doesn't get as much space. Without Salah, he doesn't get as much space. So I think even at 75%, if the ankles bother him, he plays. He has to play because he occupies so many players and he worries them. And the centre-halves will be thinking about him all the time, positionally, where's Salah, where's that left-back, where's Salah, blah, 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 blah. The left-back won't be able to get as far forward because he's got Salah and his pacing behind. He's such a weapon for us that he's got to start, even with his considered poor form.
An interesting one. Oh, one more.
Yeah. Oh, no, go a couple if you want.
Okay, the Bailey's 2-2 says Milner always plays in the big games. Thought that was quite interesting.
I'd be really surprised if he did. I mean, he's not playing at left back, is he, for Robbo? So I suppose it's one of the midfield slots, something like that. Maybe that left-hand side slot seems to suit him better than any others.
Could it be off the bench, maybe, Chris? If we're
yeah,
winning?
He could be. I think if you're 1-0 up, James Milner probably comes in. You're probably bringing Joe Gomez in as a 5th centre-half as well. Don't think I've got the room to put 5 centre-halves. Well, maybe I have. Maybe you finish the game like that. If it's 1-0, obviously we've got an extra man at the moment, so you'd probably do something like that. I don't know, actually, I don't know how I would do that. What would you do here? Maybe you just sit a little bit more like that. Maybe you're finishing the game off a little bit like that, which is inviting pressure, which is not something that you want. And we've obviously lost Salah's pace there for a counter-attack, but maybe you could do that through Mane. If Liverpool are 1-0 up... What?
That'll be the thumbnail, that one, Chris.
Jesus Christ, mate, are you sure? Let me get out the way so you can capture that properly.
Yeah, just everyone fuming.
Yeah, because you imagine. Yes, use it in on it because it's live. But yeah, that's the thumbnail now. Thank you very much. So it's a difficult one, it really is. I'm going to try and put back the team that I thought it was originally, just so we can finish it off there while Tom reads another one out for me.
Yeah, while you're doing that, Alex Otten says, 2 quality sides with bundles of attacking talent. Our front 3 will cause their dodgy back 4 more problems than their front 3 will cause against our back 4, and that'll be the difference, I believe. I think just talking on the City stuff, and Darren Tock saying City will target Trent and Lovren's side if we play 4-3-3. City have a lot of talent.
Yeah, they do, and they will target it, and you're absolutely right. It is 2 great sides, and it isn't a great attack against a sort of mishmash defence at the moment for Manchester City, so it is going to be a really interesting thing. Some nice comments there. I suppose, just pick up that last comment for me again, mate.
The last comment was, Darren Tock says, City will target Trent and Lovren's side if we play 4-3-3.
They will, and I expect City to do something slightly different. I expect City to maybe try and occupy both of these centre-halves. I'm not saying it's 2 forwards, but I think there might be 2 players centrally. And I think, a third person will target Trent. They'll do it, if they get the kick-off, they'll do it from the kick-off. They'll hit it over towards Trent and they'll go from there. It's what we've seen them do. They've tried to do it with Leroy Sané, and Trent knows he's in for a big game. But, as we know, everything seems to be running through him. At the moment, he's averaging about 110 touches a game over the last 3 games that he's had for Liverpool. Everything's been running through him. So as much as they're going to target him, they're going to have to try and stop him from playing as well. And I'm not sure that they can do that. So hopefully Trent wins that battle with whoever he's into. Hopefully the front 3 wins their battle against the back 4. Hopefully the midfield 3 win their battle. And hopefully Alisson proves that he's the best goalkeeper in the world, even if Ederson does start. But because he's conceded 5 goals, he won't be able to claim that mantle just yet. That is the Starting 11 prediction show. I am nervous. I will be more hopeful as we get closer to the ground on Sunday. But thank you very much for watching. Smash that like button, subscribe to the Redmen TV, and don't forget to check out that One Football app. The link is in the description. It is absolutely brilliant. Thanks very much for watching. We'll see you next time. Ta-ra.